Distinguished board members, hope y'all are doing well tonight. If you remember, we met last quarter and we will meet again in the next quarter. We decided to do it by video this round. If you remember last time, by the way, I hope you guys are feeling better. And the new board members, make sure you don't forget to give me a call about the packet. We got about any questions. I'm here to answer them. That's why I'm here. If you remember, we took over this new company, this new startup, My System LLC. We started to work up on the cybersecurity aspect of it. I know you guys were worried about it because of the customer data that's been going on, as well as all the new regulations and rules that are coming into effect, which did go into effect as far as the CCPA was concerned with the first of the few first enforcement actions last week or the week before last. And yeah, and then now the GDPR is hailing American companies across the pond, saying it's within their authority. The FTC is ramping enforcement actions up, going after data brokers, trying to partner what it sounds like with HHS on some kind of weird combination with HIPAA to also bring a deceptive trade practice, right? And so it's all about customer data privacy. And so we definitely want to make sure that we had our cybersecurity protections in place for this company. And so in doing that, we decided to go with the NIST framework, and this is the National Institute of Standards in Technology. What these people do is they're specialized in how to measure stuff. Okay, that's what they do, and it's good they do it because they measure things that are hard to measure, so that you can take those and build off of them. And that's exactly what happened in this industry for cybersecurity. You had all of these different professional standards and all of these different sectors of industries that needed to protect themselves from cyber attack. They were prone to it, and they were just important either for infrastructure or money or publicly traded companies, whatever it was. They were targets, and so over time, all of these standards existed, and then all of a sudden, a proliferation of regulations. NIST steps in, figures out the commonalities among all of these different standards and how we're going to use them to apply in a framework. And why the NIST is so good for a startup company is because we need to be fluid. We're young. We don't even have our own identity yet. We're trying to learn. We don't even know exactly how to classify all of the different data that we've got. And we've got to make sure that there's a cohort of people moving in unison, right? And not creating any open gates, so to speak. Coming from a country boy, I always left the gate open. Dad made Dad mad. So we're trying not to do that. We're trying to make sure that everybody's on the same page. And in doing that, so we're going to talk about NIST is good. It's flexible because it's got the cores and the profile. So the core is made up of, I'm going to start with the tier real quick. It's 1 through 4. Okay. And it's going to say, are we not really doing anything about cybersecurity? We're kind of low on the totem pole. Second is we're risk informed, but there's no set standards in place. Number 3 is like we do it on a continuous basis and we're okay at it. And the other one is we're world class. We've been put through the forged in the fire. Okay, those are the different tiers of excellency, so to speak, from learning how to do this, protect yourself based on all of the activities that the core describes. And so the core is going to look like this. We are not going into that. That is just one thing right there. That is the business environment. Those are all of the different things that can happen and all the different regulations that approve that just within business environment. And so there are a ton of activities that the core describes. And those activities, again, are things that over time these companies have done to protect themselves from attack that have then been put into standards that have been recognized ways to do that. And it allows you to take those activities and fashion based on your own goals and business models, right? The best way to protect yourself. And so before I go any further, I want to try to make an analogy here because they're really close. And I think all you guys have had estate planning. And so when you have estate planning, what do? You go in there and the lawyer asks you, where do you see yourself in 10, 20, 30, 40 years? Where are your investments growing? He's going to ask you about what do you want to happen to your kids? What do you want to happen to this property? You want to leave a legacy? He's probably going to ask you about long-term care. He's probably going to ask you, do you have a homestead? Do you have, is there community and separate property involved? All of these things he's going to want to know. And then what is he going to do? He's going to take an inventory. He's going to say, list all of your real estate, your accounts, your stocks, your retirements, your benefits, your personal property. I want to list all of those things, because then we're going to figure out, are there any threats, or are you vulnerable in some kind of way? And so when he's looking at those things, is there tax liability? Do you have the long-term care insurance in place? And what exactly does it cover? Do we need to cover for something else? Is there going to be a Medicaid issue? Do we need to do a Lady Bird deed? You've got a homestead here protected, but what about this ranch over here? Because this one's over 200 acres already. So what do we need to do with that? Put it in an LLC? But then on the flip side, right, because you guys make so much money being board members, right? And you have all these other assets, you don't have to worry about if somebody steals money in your bank account. My point is, maybe it's really convenient not to have a whole lot of rigmarole to go through just to get your money out of the bank account. And you're willing to accept any of the risks that come along with it, even if it means somebody breaks into it and get it. Maybe you're not that type of person, but there are those risks that we got to go through and plan, because if we did that for all of them and then we found out, man, there's this really bad one, well, and we've already invested to try to protect these, that would not be good. And so it is a process, a growing pains process. And just let me show you how closely they measure estate planning with the framework measure. Those look the same. That was just amazing to me. And so those are the core activities, but these are the profiles. So when you're number 5, it's really number 6, because 0 is the first starting point. When you're world class, you're just world class. You just get there. I don't even think you have that as a goal. You just end up being there and you're like, wow, how did I get here? That's not even, we're not even going to try to be world class. These are the profiles that you get to from doing those activities really well and in an expert-like manner and in a routine, continuous basis as a unit, cohesive unit that makes you good and that makes you protected on all sides. Right now, we're a startup and we don't know who we are. And so that's what I'm saying. There's some things that we weren't doing. And there was some things that we're just having to get done, right? Because you guys are stepping in and making me go make them do it. But I'm still happy with where we are, because we started at 0 and this is a startup and they're going to start at 0. And so our profile is our target profile, which would be 4, right? And so if we go back to where we were 4, I'm saying it's real good. That's where we want to be. That's where we want to be. And so right now, we're at just under a 2. Okay. And so that means, like, it's kind of ad hoc. We're doing it, but we're having to be made to do it. Okay. But we had some 3s too. Joey agrees with me. We had some 3s too. We knew our risk tolerance. We knew our place within some of the industries and sectors. We did inventory everything except for the software. We got a lot of these other things done. We had a lot of 2s, but we did have some 0s, and that is what accounted for the low number. But once we get the security policy in place and really get going on the risk assessment, there's no doubt in my mind we're going to be within those tiers. Remember, we're going to be a risk-informed company. Maybe even somebody who's doing on a continuous basis with management involvement, because remember, I'm an independent contractor, so I'm technically an outside third party that they're communicating with. You will see that when you look through the packet. You will see how that means, right? We're going to be off to the races and feeling well protected with peace of mind, right, by the next time you guys come back in that quarter. And I gave them a 76 because they got 22 out of 29 things started. And that's what matters. As long as we're improving, that's all that matters. Again, give me a call. I'm excited. I think we're off to a great start. And I really look forward to hearing from you guys. And I'll see you in a little while.